Hey, Pretty Girl Club. Welcome to another episode of Comment, Foolery, Exposed. I hope you're all having a pretty girl week. Well, I was just minding my pretty girl business and I was scrolling these internet streets, and of course, I landed on Krusty Lip Alley, and we have an entire thread where a dark skinned black woman is actually accusing her dark skinned Caribbean friend of benefiting from Featurism, and she also calls her friend a colorist. So let's go ahead and get into it. She says, I speak about colorism with my black friend, and she said I'm jealous and obsessed with light-skinned women. So I have a close friend, and I talk to her about a lot of things, especially colorism. And she basically said it's never going to change, and I should stop talking about it as it will just make me look bitter and jealous. When I explained to her how colorism affects me and my self-esteem, it's just the usual, oh well, you shouldn't put light-skinned women on a pedestal. It seems like you're doing that. Black guys like me and I'm dark-skinned. Why are you focusing on colorist black men? Yes, I understand that colorism exists, but you can't stop it from letting you grow. You're just going to turn into a bitter person. You don't love yourself. Love yourself more. No one is better than me because of their skin tone. Move on. They only said that to you when you was young. Grow up. Not every black man is colorist. Talking about colorism and racism every day is draining and boring. Do you want to be an activist or something? I guess maybe talking about this topic with some black women can be triggering, embarrassing, or uncomfortable. She does have biracial and mixed friends, so I told her that maybe that's why she had bias. Notice how she randomly thinks that her dark-skinned friend is being biased because she has biracial and mixed friends. This girl also says, when I asked if she speaks on colorism with her lighter-skinned friends, she would say, oh, well, not really. It doesn't come up. I don't care about it as much as you do and only talk about it because you bring it up so much. She also got super offended. She's Caribbean, really pretty, and only dates African men. She benefits from featurism, etc. So most black men wouldn't be colorist to her, as she is the black beauty standard. You heard it here first, folks. I have said on this channel for years that we need to stop pretending that dark-skinned black women cannot benefit from featurism or texturism. I don't know if her friend from the Caribbean is a darker-skinned mixed woman. She doesn't specify, so I'm just going to say black because she doesn't say that she's mixed on here. But notice how this girl wanted to complain about colorism and colorism affecting her self-esteem and ruining her dating life, and like everybody's a colorist, and then her friend wasn't having it, and now suddenly her dark-skinned Caribbean friend, well, she doesn't understand because she benefits from featurism and she has mixed and biracial friends. I'm trying to tell you guys, being monoracial, it won't save you from your exotical wake-up call. But she says, I do have a therapist. It's really hard finding sex-positive black therapists, so my therapist is biracial, and most of the time she tells me that I have to move on and stop self-harming by talking about it, and that there will be someone that loves me for me. I just feel no one understands, or actually no one cares. So instead of listening to what the therapist said, which is to stop self-harming by continuously bringing up colorism and stuff that you can't really control, you decided to ignore what your therapist says, and now you're saying you feel no one understands and no one cares. So literally your friend tried to help you. You said that your friend benefits from featurism and that she has mixed and biracial friends, so you discounted that friend. You signed up for therapy with a biracial therapist. The biracial therapist says that you are self-harming by obsessing over colorism, and now you're over here on Lipstick Alley looking for people to obsess over colorism with you. She said, even if I am bitter, jealous, and upset, at least I know the person I just want to feel desired to. Maybe I'm bitter and doing the most. Yeah, you are. This person says, how often are you talking about it? Also, what would be your friend's ideal response in your head when you talk to her about those issues? Also, get a different therapist, one who doesn't belong to a group you deem so problematic. So now, her therapist actually gave her good advice. She said that she is self-harming by constantly focusing on everyone being colorist against her. So now we've got another black woman telling the first black woman, oh, get a different therapist. So now she's going to have no therapist. Her friend already is tired of her trying to make colorism her. You know what? I'm going to start saying that some of these women are making colorism their personality. You know how a lot of women like to say that we make our privileges our personality? Like, oh, you make your hair your personality, your makeup's your personality, you being cute's your personality, you being pretty is your personality. Okay, well, I'd rather have those things be a part of my personality than have victimhood and being like undesirable be a part of my personality. This person says, thread, the narrative manipulation playbook, all the disgusting, nasty, and truly absurd tactics that offenders play to dismiss the reality of colorism. Nobody was even dismissing the reality of colorism in the first paragraph. This girl just said that her Caribbean friend didn't want to talk about it every day, and even her therapist said she is self-harming by obsessing over colorism on a daily basis. It's literally like self-inflicted torture. And now you've got this other black woman right here telling her to read this book saying that people are using absurd tactics in order to dismiss colorism. Just because people don't want to talk about something every day or make it define all of your failures, it doesn't mean they're dismissing its existence. Like, this channel doesn't dismiss that colorism and racism and all these isms exist. We just don't allow those things to define who we are. We don't allow our skin tones and stuff to be like this glass ceiling. But this person is literally trying to convince her to read a book which is going to actually make it worse and make her focus on how colorism is affecting her even more. She says, it sounds like they're doing a mix of character assassination, downplaying the issue, and gaslighting. How did her Caribbean friend assassinate her character? She said nothing about this girl's character. All she said was, do you want to be an activist? Like, this is boring to talk about every single day. Like, my dating life's fine. So basically her Caribbean friend can't relate, is what she was trying to say. How is that assassinating this woman's character when she was the one who randomly brought up the colorism thing? This girl said, it also sounds like they're doing the thing where they try to make it seem as if what you're saying is bizarre, even though it's backed up by empirical data and has a real negative tangible effect on your life. Usually I found that the condition for dark-skinned people's acceptance into these mixed friend groups is for them to basically not say anything about the racism and colorism that occurs in them. You should be proud of yourself. So now this girl's stereotyping mixed race people and saying that you're not allowed to talk about colorism around mixed people. And we all know that's false. My channel talks about colorism all the time. I even talk about colorism in the mixed community. I talk about how people try to use terminologies to downplay another person or to try to make it as if they're not valid. I talk about how if you police certain terminologies, you're actually pedestalizing it by saying, oh, well, I'm lighter than you, and like you don't belong in this light-skinned club, or you don't belong as being mixed or whatever. Even I talk about that in the mixed race community. So this girl's thing is actually inaccurate, saying that in order to get into these mixed friend groups, you have to basically not say anything about racism or colorism. And also, why are they talking about mixed race people as if we're just this exclusive club? We're like the popular girls, we're the pretty girls. And I'm telling you, a lot of these women expose themselves all the time because look how high of a pedestal this girl is putting mixed women on. Like, oh, in order for your Caribbean friend to get into the friend group with the other mixed girls, she's not allowed to talk about colorism. And it's like, you don't even know these people. You don't know any of these people. You're literally a random person commenting on Lipstick Alley. And also, have you ever stopped to think that maybe the Caribbean girl is pretty and has pretty privilege and she does not identify with the daily traumas of like colorism or whatever? Maybe she does not identify with experiencing that in her everyday life. Maybe she does not make being a victim of colorism something that affects her personality. Oh, but that's impossible. It's the fact that she's hanging out with mixed people, and in order to get accepted in the mixed race friend group, oh, she's not allowed to talk about colorism. And it's because she benefits from Featurism and because she's pretty and Caribbean. So now they're telling her not to be friends with the Caribbean girl because the Caribbean girl simply doesn't want to talk about colorism 24/7. Somebody else said, you need to drop that friend. They are complicit in colorism, aka a form of white supremacy or anti-blackness. This is also an ignorant comment because it's like, what is her Caribbean friend supposed to do? Like, if my friend is complaining about colorism and how her dating life sucks and everything sucks, I can't do anything about that. I can't go force a guy to be her boyfriend. I actually have an MLS friend. I have a light-skinned mixed race friend, and I couldn't be friends with her because she had these same behaviors where she was actually complaining, there's no man to date, no man wants me, blah, 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 all these men are bad. And even I didn't want to hang out around her, not because I was dismissing her problems, but because I don't identify with all this energy of like being unwanted and like my life is so hard, I'm a victim type of thing. Because even with my friend who argued about being unwanted, and by the way, she was light-skinned, So this is not just something that can happen if you're dark skinned and black. Anybody can have dating problems. But even with my friend, I stopped hanging out with her because I simply don't want to be around trauma and complaining 24/7. We were literally going out to a bar and like having fun. I wanted to have my snacks and my little drink or whatever. I don't drink, but I wanted to have my little soda, and she was over here complaining the whole time. That was not fun. So I did not want to be around her because she was ruining the fun by complaining about how much it sucks to not get attention from a guy. And it's like, why can't we just have fun without guys? Why can't we just have a girls' night? So, but now these women on here, they're telling this dark-skinned black woman to drop her Caribbean friend because she's benefiting from featurism, she's pretty, and she's Caribbean, and because she doesn't want to talk about colorism every day. So now the OP is commenting again. She said, she spoke about envy and jealousy, saying they are similar and not the same. I then explained to her different types of envy in terms of Aristotle. She didn't know or really get it, and she's studying a whole philosophy degree anyways. There are two types of envy, malicious and benign. I demonstrate benign, I believe. No, actually you don't. You are clearly envious of your friend who's Caribbean to the point where not only are you about to drop your therapist who's biracial, now you don't want to be friends with the woman who's Caribbean. You randomly brought up that your Caribbean friend benefits from featurism and hangs out with mixed and biracial women, which really had nothing to do with anything. So you were actually projecting, and now you're over here typing a whole paragraph about how your friend is studying for philosophy, yet she still didn't understand you. This is not regular envy. This is actually an obsession. She said, there are two types of envy, malicious and benign. I demonstrate benign, I believe. I wish I didn't. I don't have anything against them or hate them. It's just I wanted to feel pretty and desired too. Is that a crime? No, it's not a crime at all. There are just different ways to feel desired, and constantly complaining about how you're undesirable, that's probably not going to help you manifest confidence and being more desirable. And then she goes on to keep talking about her Caribbean friend. She says she's very confident in her looks, well, acts like it, and is very self-assured, but actually sometimes I think she uses this as a mask because she never really posts herself without a filter. And when I wanted to post a YouTube video, she was in it, and I was very excited to post it. She watched it back and said I had to delete it all and not post it on YouTube as she doesn't want to be on social media or on my channel. It really sucked because it was good footage. It feels like maybe she doesn't want people to know she hangs out with me. So now you are assuming that the Caribbean girl thinks she's better than you basically and doesn't want to be seen with you. Do you see the insane projections? All because this is a dark-skinned woman who benefits from featurism, and her background is Caribbean. Meanwhile, her Caribbean friend never said, I don't want to be seen with you. She never said that. Then this girl says, she always comments and gasses up her friends, the light-skinned ones, but never me. Well, maybe she tried to gas you up and you didn't believe it because you were too busy complaining about colorism. And also, since when do people owe you compliments? This is exactly the mindset I'm talking about. So, you know those people that get mad when you compliment somebody else and like not them? And it's like, okay, if she's just innocently complimenting her friend who happens to be light-skinned, you know how people think that is colorist? Like you're not allowed to compliment a light-skinned person because that's colorist. This is what this girl seems to be doing. She always comments and gasses up her friends, the light-skinned ones, but never me. Then she says, when I told her this, she got really mad and said I needed help. And it's not true. She rarely posts and doesn't like posting. It's not me, etc. I think maybe she feels talking about colorism will make her look like a hater or jealous, which is what she's saying to me. I told her her response is a bit unintelligent and closed-minded. She said it's her opinion and I can't change what and how she thinks, and if I know it's not true, I shouldn't care. Most people don't like me because I say the truth or what people are afraid to say. Okay, so you just admitted that your friend, who's the Caribbean one, that she doesn't want to be a hater, or she doesn't want to look like a hater, she doesn't want to look jealous. Then you called her unintelligent and closed-minded, and then in the next sentence after that, you say most people don't like me because you say the truth. So it has nothing to do with you constantly complaining about colorism, calling people unintelligent and closed-minded, wanting to get rid of your biracial therapist because this other girl on here told you don't have a biracial therapist. And then you randomly brought up your friend benefiting from featurism and having a Caribbean background and being pretty. Meanwhile, none of that had anything to do with you talking about colorism. Your friend being pretty shouldn't take away from you living your best life. So why did you randomly bring that up? It sounds like you're actually jealous of your friend and you're mad that she doesn't wear colorism trauma on her sleeve. She says, I just wanted friends, you know. Black girls were nasty to me, saying I'm weird, autistic, talk like a white girl. Mixed girls bullied me for being dark, and Africans always ridiculing me about my hair in front of black men for no reason, saying I'm too loud or just finding ways to make me feel I'm beneath them. White girls are super cool to me, to be honest, but I don't want to get lost. I wish I had black girlfriends that I could trust. And so you can't trust your Caribbean friend because she benefits from featurism, because she is really pretty. These are the words that came out of her own mouth. She said she benefits from featurism, she's pretty, she has a Caribbean background, and she doesn't wear colorism trauma on her sleeve. And then this girl goes on to post an entire chart to try to prove that she's not envious of her friend. So there are 3 circles. There's like a whole Venn diagram. It says pain of envy, benign envy, malicious envy. So she's doing all this just to prove, hey guys, just so you know, I'm not jealous of my pretty friend who's dark skinned and she's Caribbean and she benefits from features. Oh no, I'm not jealous of her at all. And by the way, my biracial therapist, I'm not listening to her. And I just want to post this entire chart to prove that I'm not envious. And then this girl, the OP posts again. She says, I don't know what my ideal response was because I don't even know what she even thinks about it. She says she knows it's a real thing, but she doesn't really allow it to affect her or get to her, as she doesn't care and didn't grow up in a predominantly black area. I am looking into getting a new therapist, which many people suggested. Apparently the race of your therapist shouldn't matter, but not sure. My therapist said I could be going through therapy transference with her, but I don't think so. She'll never understand either way. Also, I don't think they're problematic at all. What makes you think I think that? It's just in my childhood/adulthood, hurtful colorist things happen to me and I want to heal them, that's all. Okay, well, it sounds like your friend is doing a better job at healing from quote-unquote colorism than you are, because your friend says, hey, you know, I'm doing fine. Like, I don't have a problem with getting pretty privilege or dating or whatever. She seems to, you know, like how she looks, so she's healing from it. This person says, I would also like to introduce a suggestion to you. I know you seem to view yourself as the one who is envying others. Is it possible that maybe you're mistaken? Are you really the one who is envious of your friends, or is it your friends who are envious of you? So now we've got this other black woman trying to convince her that no, the Caribbean girl who has not been traumatized by colorism, oh, she's just envious of you. Oh yeah, they wish they had these same traumas. They wish that they were posting Venn diagrams on Lipstick Alley to prove that they're not envious. Oh yeah, your friend's the jealous one. The Caribbean girl, she's jealous. And then this girl says, would a person from a state of contentment and satisfaction with themselves go out of their way to make themselves known to be better than other people? So now this girl is trying to imply that the Caribbean friend, who quote-unquote benefits from featurism, is trying to make herself known to be better. Meanwhile, she said nothing about benefiting from featurism. The Caribbean girl herself, she had never said to the friend, at least from the post, that she benefits from featurism and that it makes her better. This is all projections. This Caribbean girl's probably at home minding her own business right now. And she's got a whole entire Lipstick Alley thread being posted about her with Venn diagrams and everything. And then she says, would they put in so much work and effort to differentiate themselves and in the process make other people feel excluded, invalidated, and marginalized if they were truly satisfied with themselves? But how is the Caribbean girl trying to differentiate herself? If her background is from the Caribbean, what is she supposed to do? Lie? Is she supposed to not say that that's where her background is from? And if her features look different, what is she supposed to do? Change her features to look exactly like her friends? How is that her purposely trying to make the other girl feel excluded, invalidated, and marginalized? At this point, you're trying to make the argument that that girl's existence is making this other black girl feel invalidated and marginalized. Then this girl, the original poster, she says, maybe I don't have much friends, although growing up, I guess my neighbors would tell me people were jealous of me because I'm kind, pretty, and super honest. That will intimidate them. She said, I don't see the beauty in me. She's right. Maybe I don't. So now she's admitting that her Caribbean friend is right, that maybe she doesn't see the beauty in herself. Then she goes on to say, although I don't have much to be envious of in regards to looks-wise, because black men never wanted me, but they did want the girls my friend said I'm jealous and obsessed with. So first you say your friend is right, and then you admit that black men never wanted you, and that they did want the girls that you were jealous of. and you sound jealous of the Caribbean girl. And then she admits, I too wanted to be admired. I too wanted to be put on that pedestal. But it's a lesson to never be vulnerable to anyone, not even your friends. I'm not ashamed of these feelings. I just want the feelings to go away. No therapist can make it go away. So basically, you're just going to torment yourself. Well, I mean, at least she admitted that she wanted to be put on a pedestal by black men. And then this girl goes on to say, also, she told me, so she's saying her Caribbean friend told her, the kind of black men I want wouldn't go for me because I'm quirky and I don't look like an IG baddie, so what do I expect? She said I was self-hating because I was seeking validation from white men a lot and getting hurt when it wouldn't work out. And then she says the Caribbean friend asked her, why do I put them on a pedestal so much? It's embarrassing. So even her Caribbean friend called her out for putting white men on a pedestal and like trying really hard to get white male validation. And then this girl says, so I can't win. I want black men to want me, and I can't win when I want white men to want me. So she's admitting from her own mouth that this is all male-centered. This whole colorism thing, it's all male-centered. So she admitted a couple sentences earlier that black men didn't want her, and now she's saying that the white men didn't want her either, and that the Caribbean friend that she's jealous of, the Caribbean friend called her out and said, hey, why are you pedestalizing white men so much? And then this girl says, so people were trying to give this girl beauty advice, and then she says, I don't know what you mean or who you're referring to. Although I never grew up wearing wigs, links, or sew-ins. I wear braids. I do love wigs, but I never knew how to do them, and they would just look so crazy. Okay, so she's admitting that she has had some bad wig days. That's fine. And then she says she did wear wigs before, her Caribbean friend. She's talking about the Caribbean girl now. She did wear wigs before, but said it was self-hating, and she doesn't want them in. Her African ex didn't like them and was hella weird, so I think this also boosted her to stop. She wears sew-ins all the time, either kinky straight or bundles, or maybe she'll do a slick back bun. She rarely wears braids or locks, but when she does, it looks very nice. I really like her, but something about her I don't fully trust. She had helped me in my many times of need, especially when I was having breakdowns, but I don't know. Okay, so it sounds like the Caribbean friend is wearing extensions and sew-ins and stuff with leave-out or stuff that kind of matches her hair texture. And then this girl herself just admitted that she had bad wigs, and then she ends the paragraph saying, there's something about her where I don't fully trust her. You just made a whole chart trying to describe why you're not envious of this girl who benefits from Featurism and who is very pretty and who black men want to date. And she's dark-skinned. Yet you don't understand why you don't trust her. This person says, I personally feel like OP isn't wrong in this situation. There will be a lot of times where certain black people who conform to respectability politics will look down on or police other black people who don't. So they'll behave themselves into status and not talking about these serious issues for white validation and then get mad at other black people when they rightfully bring them up or refuse to do the same. So now they are accusing her Caribbean friend of conforming to respectability politics. So first of all, what does that even mean? Because I've noticed that people have used that as a gaslighting term. What they're really trying to say is the women who get dates versus the women who don't, that is a part of politics. So now they're trying to pull politics into dating, or at least that's what this person is trying to do. And then she's saying that her friend, the Caribbean girl, is behaving herself into status. So basically, the Caribbean girl is social climbing, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. I talk about that on here. Who wants to be at the bottom? I don't want to stay around friends who complain all the time either. This girl says, how are we supposed to fix the problem if you're never allowing people to talk about it, acting as if they're obsessed over some minuscule, unimportant thing rather than an actual oppressive force that wreaks havoc on other people's lives? Don't you think it's a serious and real issue that needs to be fixed? Because you're not really acting like it. Well, the Caribbean girl can't fix colorism on a global scale. People are not required to listen to you trauma dump on them. And so I'm noticing that some women, they're just tired of the trauma dumping. They're tired of being around women who are constantly talking about struggle and identifying with struggle. Some women just want to be pretty and carefree and live the soft life. So it sounds like that's what the Caribbean girl was trying to do. And now suddenly that means that she is a social climber, which is bad, apparently. She's benefiting from Featurism. She hangs out with mixed friends and light-skinned friends, and she had to behave a certain way in order to get into the light-skinned friend group. Like, they have all these conspiracy theories about this girl. So somebody said that the Caribbean girl does not seem like an intellectually curious or a good friend. So now the Caribbean girl is being accused of being a bad friend. The original poster, she said, it's funny because she's getting a degree and I don't have one. I dropped out of high school. Okay, so you just said you're mad that black men don't like you. You were mad that white men didn't want you. Your Caribbean friend, according to you, is very pretty and benefits from Featurism, and she wears kind of more natural looking, nice looking extensions. And now you're admitting that your Caribbean friend is also getting a degree and that you don't have one. You dropped out of high school. And then you just created an entire Venn diagram to describe why you're not jealous of that friend and how that friend is dismissive about colorism. So it sounds like your friend is just leveling up and you're not, and now you're mad, which is why you're creating Venn diagrams to show that you're not jealous. And then this girl says she's getting a whole degree in philosophy, politics, and economics. When I try to talk to her about politics and stuff, she's not very enthusiastic about it. But I don't know, she acts a bit off sometimes, like she's very secretive. She's opened up a bit now, doesn't want anyone knowing anything about her, doesn't really post, and when we're out or on holiday, she doesn't post me at all. So now you're mad at your Caribbean friend because when you talk to her about her degree, she doesn't want to teach you and talk to you about politics, and she's not enthusiastic. So now you're pedestalizing your friend so much to the point where you're expecting her to be happy all the time. You're expecting her to just enthusiastically talk to you about what she just went to class about. And then you're mad. You said she acts a bit off, like she's very secretive. She doesn't owe you her personal information. And especially if you're going to go and post lipstick alley threads behind her back, she probably doesn't know that you're posting this, but she knows that something is off about you, which is why she doesn't want to tell you her shit. And especially if she's leveling up, you just said she's pretty, benefits from Featurism, her background's from the Caribbean, she hangs out with other pretty girls, quote unquote, according to you. She has no problems dating. Black men want her. You admitted that you wanted black men and that you desperately tried to get with white men, and that your Caribbean friend called you out for your self-hate and called you out for how you pedestalize white men. Your Caribbean friend is also getting a degree in philosophy, politics, and economics. And now you're mad and you're saying, oh, well, she's secretive. It's like, well, yeah, because she knows that you're weird because you're posting a lipstick alley thread telling all of her secrets. And then you also got mad that she doesn't want to post pictures with you. She said she does with other friends. She knows a lot about me. Maybe she doesn't want people to know that she hangs out with me as I am mentally ill. But it's my fault I just overshare with anyone because I don't have a support system. Well, you had your biracial therapist, but you didn't want her. You and the rest of the girls on Lipstick Alley said to get rid of the therapist because she was biracial. Yet if I were to tell people to not get a dark-skinned black woman as a therapist, I'd be called racist. Oh my God, so I was not expecting this at all. Somebody said, your friend must watch Exoticals United. Exotical tax! I'm so glad that I've got some Caribbean Exoticals that are leveling up. But that's hilarious. And then this girl's a dark-skinned black woman. Even though she has a mixed race woman on her photo, or a woman with 3A hair, she says, LOL, no, but I used to. So this girl admits that she used to watch my channel, and she's unambiguous, and she was talking shit about her Caribbean friend who benefits from Featurism and her friend who's pretty, basically. This guy says, I'm a 27-year-old black gay man, but I would recommend performing glamour magic or having a good old shroom trip. Also, consider getting a full black woman therapist who can empathize and guide you as you navigate colorism and racism. So now they want her to do magic so that she can try to keep up with the confidence level of her friend. Anyway, this was hilarious. I was so excited and also flattered to see that somebody is assuming that her pretty Caribbean friend who benefits from Featurism must watch my channel. But what do you ladies think? Are you Caribbean? Do you have people being jealous of that background? People have called me Caribbean before. To be completely honest, I am American, so I'm not very knowledgeable about all the different countries and all the different ethnic backgrounds. But what do you ladies think? Do you think she's jealous and being extreme and obsessive by posting Venn diagrams? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.